Welcome back to another episode of Pardon Our Promotion here inside the Verge Studios. How's everybody doing today? Good?
Fantastic.
Great.
It's a nice February day in Wisconsin.
So we are doing construction in here, I know that. And one of the things you're talking about is putting a green screen, another green screen in here.
Or blue screen, like a chroma
screen, yeah.
I don't know if this is in the shot, but there's a chroma screen in the set here.
Yeah. And we do that for teams too. I go to a ton of minor league teams and independent ball teams that either we have a setup there for a green screen or they already had a setup there. And, we're shooting things like media days there, game day content and whatnot. But a lot of the time, teams don't know how to activate that. So we have to teach them and we have to sit down with them and think about through some content ideas. I know that you've had a green screen in some of the shows that you've produced. How have you used it?
Yeah, so just using it with your players to get really creative with any type of theme that you want to activate throughout your season, player videos, staff videos, any type of commercials that you want to film it in front of the green screen, and then you can just pop them in front of whatever backdrop that you want. Whether that be a live shot or just a photo.
Interesting is that, and you hit a lot of different areas with that answer. Is that something, in your case, in your history, you're doing that before the season starts, all those, or?
Yeah, so typically I would have a media day shot list, and I would have you have all your themes planned out ahead of time.
Stop. Media day shot list. Hold that thought. So a lot of teams have media day shot lists. They make the players do like 2 things, 3 things. Swing the bat or whatever. Hold a puck up. Smile. Spin around. That's it.
Yeah, I've got shot lists that are 5 pages.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's where I wanted to stop because you kind of was just going to roll into that, and a lot of and I just wanted to point out that because you were rolling right into something that you always do, both of you, but a lot of teams don't.
Right.
So explain that a little bit deeper.
Yeah. So you have your standard. So your media day shot list. We'll start there. So you have your standard. The things that you just talked about, you take the bat, you swing it, you stand still, you smile, you make, you do all of these, you toss a ball. But then you also, on top of that, have any type of player content that you're going to need. This is your one time that you're going to have the full team at that point in time, your full roster at that point in time in the same room. So you really want to take advantage of it. And you're right, a lot of teams don't take advantage of that time. But so then you're just going to list it all out and then add in your themes. So if you're going to do a halfway to Halloween night and you want to do something specific that's Halloween themed, you want to ask them what their favorite scary movie is. You're going to do that during that time. And then as new players come in, you can get that later on in the season, but during their onboarding process. But for the most part, you're going to get the bulk of your content during your media day.
And you just said onboarding, and you said 5 pages. We're going to go deep here, all right? Back up. We talk about engaging fans. We talk about, having fans help us produce our own shows by adding talent and stuff. The interesting thing is there's essentially a big cutoff between front office production in a lot of places, front office production, and using the team as our talent. And so the 5-page media shot list, you take that 5-page media shot list or 3-page or whatever you get, and you go into team 10, not team A, B, C, D, whatever, team J, and they literally got, we'll give you 2 minutes per player because it's not in their culture to use their players as talent. And yet when we put in our shows with the virtual producer or I did my consulting, I'd say, listen, media day is, I want 20 minutes a player or 15 minutes a player. We don't have to have all the players waiting out in the lobby. We can schedule them throughout the day so they're not waiting around, but we need all of them for a long period of time. Again, they do it at the NBA, I'm sure, pretty well where they're managing. You have to hang out with us for an hour and do all these promotions and all this stuff, and each player hangs out and does all these different things for an hour, but they forget that in the minor league level. And that has to go from management, front office management to team management. The skipper needs to know in a baseball facility that his players are kind of the front offices for a day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he can't be having batting practice in the middle of media day or whatever. Right?
Yeah. And I typically I kind of divide my shot list by every single player is going to do this. They're going to have these basic things, every single one of them. And then if a guy comes in and you can kind of tell that he's like a little more outgoing and, he's kind of funny, then I'm going to have this like separate shot list of like, okay, I want you to like look in the camera and like, flex your muscles and like, let's go. And I'm going to have him do a little bit more like crowd prompt, crowd interactive. And you just have to kind of play that by ear as media day is going on, as you're meeting the players for the first time, who those guys are going to be. You can kind of pinpoint who the fan favorites are going to be from the very beginning just by their personality alone.
Absolutely.
So I take advantage of that too. I'm not just going to do the same stat, the same standard stuff with a guy who has a huge personality. I'm going to take advantage of that and I'm really going to use it in my shot list. Yeah. But every single thing is in that shot list. Like it's down to the pretty specific.
The tangent on that is I remember when I was doing a lot of NBA stuff in the 90s, and Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal were just hilarious as players kind of early on before. Like it was kind of like where we use players a lot, right? The Magic. So that was Shaq when he was. Yeah, that was early in his career, right? Yeah, was just a hilarious guy on the big screen, and a little tiny big screen of the Magic at that time. But he was great, and so you look at him now, and they're both commentators, and they're both goofing with each other. That was in their spirit. That was in their aura when they were playing ball. Like they were the comic players back then. So it's kind of neat to see their evolution. But yeah, those teams took advantage of those guys and their personalities decades ago.
Yeah. And when you find a person like that in your organization, on your team, you want to take advantage of that. So that person's probably going to be or should be in front of the green screen a lot. We should do a lot of stuff with that player or that whoever that character is in the show as often as we can. We can shoot game day content, meaning we can shoot them at the green screen. If we have a great idea that morning of the show, we could shoot them at the green screen and get it produced and ready to go for the show that night.
Yep.
And that's what the green screen allows us to do. And a lot of teams forget that they have this amazing asset, and we can even take live shots from there and do whatever we want with the background.
So you're talking about that green screen. I'd like to go deeper into that, just the ongoing use of it. You brought up something about during player trades and onboarding. I'm going to talk about a little nuance in the show at the minor league level, again with players moving around the country as fast as they do and leaving the franchises. I've had wonderful media day shoots. And then I'll come in and it will produce a really cool piece of content. And I'll come in mid-season and they'll say, well, we can't use that anymore because we traded 2 of the players. And I'm thinking, nobody knows. Nobody knows. There's like 5 people in the stands that maybe know that player isn't in it. It's still a really good piece of content. Yeah. And the front offices get hung up the fact that player might not even exist anymore in their uniform. Again, 99% of the fans will not know that the player is now playing for some other team.
Yeah.
So it's a guy you have to let loose a little bit. If it's really funny, use it. And it's not going to hurt your brand. It's not, So I'm sorry I got on that little tangent. But let's go back to that ongoing, because teams that even have, whether they have short media lists or long ones, they stop using it after media day. Let's talk about ongoing usage.
It's ongoing. A new player comes in.
Good point.
Yeah, a new player comes in. New player comes in, and we already know the shots that they got to go through. That should almost be posted in our green screen room. The shots that every player wants, they come, they get their stuff, basic ones, and then stuff that, we're always paying attention to stuff that we might need later in the season too. So, while maybe we don't need this player to do a halfway to Halloween themed piece of content, we have, our fan appreciation at the end of the season, we might want some kind of content for. So we're going to have that player shoot that. And going back to your statement about, the player got traded, so we don't have him anymore. Yeah, you can still use it, of course, but guess what? We can also reshoot it.
Correct.
Very easily. Very easily.
It's easy to read, especially if you have it all digitized. You can put it in pretty quickly and change out a player. So you said shot list posted. You said onboarding, player onboarding. And player onboarding is not a system-wide vernacular, right? But it needs to be. And it needs to be part of a culture. So even going back to just the nuances of the green screen, if a front office has player onboarding and the team operations has that in their heads and it's part of their culture, then when the new player gets to the facility, he gets his uniform, his shoes, his uniform, his per diem money, he gets his locker, and he gets the media shot list.
Yep.
And it's part of it's part of onboarding a player throughout the whole system. And it isn't one of those afterthoughts. Oh, wait, now it's 10 minutes a game. Oh, you didn't get any media. No, it's part of the process of bringing a player into a facility. And again, it's, for the most part, it's an afterthought in a lot of franchises. It's like, oh, we forgot to get him. We don't even have his his or her headshot for the video board tonight.
Yeah, I mean, my player onboarding was right there in with, they, like you said, they went up to accounting, they went up to HR, they got their apartment key, they got all their stuff, they got, they signed up to get paid. And then they said, all right, now go to Lindsey. And I said, okay, here's your, here's what I'm going to need for you. If it was like really close to game time, we just went and did their standard headshot. But then I would say, okay, well, we need to schedule you to come back. And then they would come back. But if it wasn't close to game time, they would come and they would just do it right then. So they went straight from, the important stuff to them, and then right to me for the important stuff for us too.
So using baseball, because it's coming up, you have media, let's say a team starts in April 5th or whatever, you have media day, March 30th, because you need to get ingest all that content and get it edited. But again, now a lot of teams, when they don't have the culture, they take down the screen. So when the player happens to show up 3 weeks later, a new player, it's so much of a hassle to set up lights. So how did you deal with that where you were? Was that ready to go?
Yeah, we had a VRAC install. And
a VRAC? What's a VRAC?
It was a green screen. It was, it was set up on the wall, and then we had our camera and all of our lights. They were just fixed, so they were there all the time.
The mic, the lights, everything fixed in a room. Yeah. Again, a lot of times at the major league level, they have a media room or whatever they can process a lot of stuff at, and it's a little bit harder, logistics and facilities in the minor leagues, but usually teams can, we put in VRACs. That's why I kind of gave Lindsey a brief there. Our company puts in, they're called virtual remote acquisition kits. We put them at our facilities to enable these teams to be able to do this throughout the season, right? And what else do you get from those besides just, we talk mainly about players right now?
I mean, game day content. So you got a VIP in town and, maybe they're not going to be there for the game, or we want to put them in a unique situation or have kind of a unique video board element. We're going to put them in front of the green screen to help promote the element. Other things that we can do with it is, we've shot videos for sponsors at green screens before. It's really flexible. We can pretty much do anything with it. We're only limited by our imagination. We could take someone and put them in downtown Tokyo if we wanted to,
right?
And create some type of element out of that.
Yeah, I remember we had a crazy promo guy. This was, again, 2 decades ago. And he would always be dressed up weird hair, weird outfits, and he would always be talking about the upcoming promotions, which some are set, some are changing. So we produce a new set of upcoming promotions every day. He'd have to do a different thing. And so every day he was wearing a different outfit, and he was in a different part of the world. He was on Mount Everest or whatever. So or movie backgrounds. He would be literally in a Monty Python movie talking about the promotions just to zhush it up,
Yeah.
So there's so much you can do with it.
Yeah, and it looks realistic too. Like it's, you can make it look corny and over the top if you want it to, but for the most part, like it looks realistic. Like I was looking at the video of Derek Franks whenever he was filmed that in front of a VRAC, and it looked like he was standing in front of his ballpark, like from the background was their ballpark, but it was a green screen.
It was a green screen. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point. You were talking about a testimonial video that of one of our clients that did for us, and he did a really good job. His name is Derek Franks. Derek Franks, write that down and send him an email. So, but no, the point I'm saying is instead of writing the testimony or shooting it some other way and then post-production editing it, it was simple for him to just walk upstairs,
Just stand there.
do his thing, maybe make a couple of cuts, they edited it together, boom, it's out the door. And that speed, again, it comes with that culture, that speed of being able to do that. And the culture of saying, you know, hey, Scott, I need you to write a PA for tonight because there's a benefit for Make-A-Wish Foundation. No, I don't want to write a PA. I want you to get in front of the green screen and say it out loud. It's faster, much more effective. It's not just a PA read from that voice of God in the sky that nobody pays attention to, even if it is the voice of God, right? So it's much more effective to have somebody on that video board talking to the crowd about whatever that event is with maybe some logo embellishment to it, right?
Yep.
Well, the nature of our industry is so fast-paced, just sports in general. You know, you get a new player, they need to be somewhere else so fast. So having everything organized and just using the green screen is so much faster than, you know, setting up a camera and, you know, all of that if you have it fixed right there in front of you. So it's important for us to have that speed and the ability to do. If we come up with an idea, we can just do it right then and there with the green screen.
Yep.
Be right.
And yeah, you can get as creative as you want. You can do a half inning from Berlin and you sit your host, you know, in the green screen, and he's in Berlin and talking with the German accent, introducing players for that half inning, and we throw him up every time he says something on the video board. So
Wait, I
there's
like that.
a lot of different
Actually,
things.
yeah, we should throw that in there. It's some sort of like tour,
write it down.
some promotion like World Tour Night, and so every player introduction is in a different accent.
Yep.
Every inning there's a Spanish accent, there's an Italian accent, whatever.
Yep.
Introducing your players. That'd be a fun little night, and it'd be pretty easy to produce. That's a cool night.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much, I call it kind of a C-level production night because it's really the production company, the on-field host. It doesn't have to be a whole wide open, full bore Star Wars night. But this is a little silly
Simple,
nuance. What is it? Epcot? Epcot's the one with the World Tour. So you have different beers, different foods, and different accents.
Right.
Yeah.
Great night.
Those little details.
We're putting that into Vert's producer. So anyhow, but yeah, it is. You didn't mention it's limitless,
Yep.
and the way to make it limitless is to put it into your culture, put it in, and keep it up. Make it part of just the ongoing operations where it's moved into the subconscious for the staff, for the players, for the staff, that's just how they do business.
Yeah.
Is using the green screen and the V-Rack, if we put it in, and use that to enhance their show because it's limitless, like you said.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all for today's episode. If you guys have any ideas for some green screen usage, or you want us to review what a green screen setup would be for you, drop us a note, send us a message. We love those. Until next time, guys, it's all about your fans. See you later.